The first speaker is Elder Valerie Nicholson. Elder Valerie currently works at the BC Centre for Excellence in HIV/AIDS as a peer researcher and co-investigator, and at AIDS Vancouver as an Indigenous peer navigator. She also works on the Canadian Coalition to Reform the Criminalization of HIV, is a trainer with the Positive Living Development Institute, and is the past chair of the Canadian Aboriginal AIDS Network that we fondly know as CAN. She works with youth as an elder for Camp Moomba, with Youth Co, First Directions, and Use Knoweth. Her new adventure is what she terms as artivism. Valerie honors all peer voices and ensures that their words are heard and transformed into positive actions through the work that she does. She's dedicated to bringing research home. And I honestly don't know where Elder Valerie has the time to do all of this, but we're glad that she does. Elder Val has received many research advocacy awards, including the 2018 recipient of the CAR Red Ribbon Research Award, the 2019 AIDS Vancouver Red Ribbon for outstanding contributions to HIV, the HIV AIDS movement, and the 2019 CAR Can for Excellence in community-based research. Elder Valerie, thank you, welcome, and over to you.
Good morning. Thank you, Tammy, for those beautiful words and welcome. And just thank you. And I would love to speak today, my back pocket, I guess, on two projects that I'm working on with wellness initiatives taking place in Coast Salish lands and waters. The first one is the Chivos Paw, and the second one is brand new. It is called Broken Arrow, the James Raven Project. Next slide, please. I would like to honor again all the ancestral traditional lands and waters, but I especially now would like to acknowledge the Kwantlen ancestral unceded territories where we did the work for Chivos Paw, where we all connected our minds, bodies, hearts, and spirit to do this beautiful work. Next slide, please. I raise my hands to all the funders. Sorry, I can't see, so I have to look, sorry. CIHR, Simon Fraser University, and the AHA Center for the Chivos Paw Project, and the AHA Center for the James Raven Project. So I'm going to just give you a brief overview of the Chivos Paw, which the women have now entitled Water Women Rising. We did do a presentation with the words from the women called Water is where the heart is. And our names, as this project is growing, are ever changing. And we have many different titles for papers. And the newest one is The Rising Tide, as the women are bringing their voices back to community. So the Chivos Paw project came out of, there we go, the Chivos Project. And first of all, I would like to honor our tribe. We had 6 Indigenous HIV positive women coming to us from many different nations across Turtle Island, but we were all living on the Coast Salish unceded traditional ancestral territories. And we have seen too many studies that conducted and took a deficit-based approach to examining health outcomes of Indigenous women living with HIV, and we knew we had to do something different. It is with this background that we initiated Chivos Paw, a study to understand how Indigenous women living with HIV understand and experience their health through traditional ways of knowing and doing. PAW, I would like to honor, stands for Positive Aboriginal Women, which was a term gifted to us by Keisha Larkin, who was one of the first, or she was the first Indigenous woman to be diagnosed with HIV in British Columbia. We used water as the teachings that we were going to go as we researched the medicine wheel and how every culture has a different medicine wheel. They have different colors, they're in different orders, and some tribes don't even use medicine wheels. So we wanted to be very respectful. And through ancestors coming through, we decided that we live at the Coast Salish Sea, and water, if we didn't have that lifeblood of water, we wouldn't be alive. Water grows our medicines. So we noticed that water was ever changing, it transforms. And this is what we're all about, is transforming healthcare. Again, we thought we based our work on the 7 sacred teachings to do this work with humility, courage, respect, love, wisdom, and truth, honesty. But we also wanted to do it very visual because that was the first way of communication that we ever had. We were rooted in ceremony, we had an elder, and we found it was our responsibility to build roads so others could travel with us. And we must indigenize our research from beginning to conclusion. And we hyphenate the word research because the answers have always been there for us to pick up from our ancestors. We just have to research for them. We use the word indigenizing instead of decolonizing because we were here before the colonists, and indigenizing brings such a strength-based foundation of positivity. We had collective canvases, which we all worked on together over the days we were together. One being earth medicines, and the women put all their medicines and words on here and what it meant to them. And the messages from the women, because I would really like to honor them. My culture with my medicine, natural medicine. I believe that this journey has been a lot easier since I've been sticking to my beliefs. Another woman said, this is medicine in combination with burdock leaf for tea. And I guess that's another message for me to actually try it. Cedar has always been a cleanser for me, even though the white man's world, they don't see it the way we see it. I just love the smell of cedar and the healing properties, and I know it has a lot of medicinal benefits. Another woman shared, that's my inner heartbeat of traditions, and how I braided the sweetgrass brings me back to my culture. Another said, the first time I ever saw sweetgrass, it just brought me back home. Another spoke with the medicine ghost ceremony, and for the first time I was ever introduced to any kind of medicine. I was younger, was the sweetgrass. And I put it here because that's where I come from. They talked about sage and how it really worked and how all these medicines can be part of their health journey, yet health providers weren't recognizing it. Another said, I found it so powerful, sage. I just love the smell. I have a bunch of sage in my office, and sometimes the whole office just feels weird, and I'll light it and I'll kind of let it go throughout the whole day. And a lot of people end up coming into my office around that time because they can feel that draw and that healing. So the questions we asked at Chivos Paw was, how do you use Indigenous medicines and ceremony in your health and healing? We got such a rich database of words. And one of them says, I always go back to my culture and my grandmothers before us. Another question we asked was, how would you love to vision your healthcare? And when reading all the answers, what came out loud and clear for us was, my body knows a thing or two about a thing or two. Really recognizing that we honor and know our own bodies. And one said, so water is significant for cleansing, for purifying, for ceremony, for spirituality, for new growth. Us, our paths, cleansing. I find water, especially waterfalls, very cleansing. Another woman said, the salmon is always fighting against the water. So that reminds me, I always feel like I'm a fish fighting against the system for change, because we have to ruffle a few feathers to make change. We also asked the women to share with us what bumps and falls, which was represented by a waterfall, their experiences in their own healthcare. And as you can imagine, this was very heavy session, but nature really took care of us, because in the middle of this session, as the women were sharing their stories, four-legged deer came running by the window, and we all went to the window to watch them watch us. And they stayed with us as long as we needed them. And when we came back, we all felt cared for, renewed, and they carried all that away with them, all that we were carrying. Also to know that when we did this, we did canoes of reflection. So we said, we're still here today with all those bumps and falls in healthcare. What got us through that? So all those words went on canoes, and we put them in our water to recognize all those that held us up and got us through those times. One woman said, I tried to say no. And then every time I wanted to get care, they continued to ask. So I actually stopped going to my clinic. I only went to the doctors maybe 3 or 4 times when I was pregnant because I felt unsafe. Another woman said, I felt like a lab test cause because I was under the microscope 24/7 because they don't know how to deal with that. The women, when talking about now what lifted them up, they said, these are our inner strengths, because without them and my children, they have set this path for me. Another reflected, it's my aunt. She passed away. She's been gone for 4 years now, but her strength, every time the doctors told me I couldn't use my traditional medicine, I was so mad. And I was brainwashed, eh? I listened to them, and she said, only you and the Creator can decide, But it was her that just kept pushing me forward, and that's why I'm here today. We did many teachings on water. We did many teachings on courage, and we sent messages to healthcare providers. I think I'm getting a notice that I have 1 minute left. So from there, I would really just like to share just a little bit about the James Raven Project. The James Raven Project, I can do in 30 seconds, explores the history, and if I can have the next slide, explores the histories and experience of Indigenous peoples accessing healthcare in British Columbia. This will be a short film with imagery using the voices of women living with healthcare experiences. And if I can have the next slide. So what we're really talking about is how words can damage, and what we're out to do is teach that the words that you choose can change the direction of our wellness and well-being in our HIV care. And like this little plant growing up through the rocks, we are all change warriors, and with our words, we will make a difference. Thank you for listening to me today, all my relations.
Thank you so much, Elder Valerie. And quite honestly, I'm sure when I say this, it reflects what everyone is thinking. We wish that we could listen to you all day. Thank you so much.